My friends, how are you? It is fantastic to see you for yet another video, and today I've got more information from out here on the streets of how Donald Trump and his economic policy is negatively affecting the truckers in America. Because my friends, as I continue to do this, I see more telltale signs out there that things are going wrong in the trucking industry. And look, I get it. I understand. Of course, anybody paying attention to Donald Trump's economic policies, his trade wars, his tariffs, knew that this was coming. We all knew that this was going to happen, but now we are finally starting to see the results of when Donald Trump broke the supply chain a few months back with his 125%, 145% tariffs. Companies were freaking out because the tariffs were coming and they front-loaded all of their inventory, which gave this illusion in the transportation industry that everything was actually going really well because of Donald Trump's trade policies. Now we're starting to see the chickens come home to roost, as they say, my friends. And, you know, it is a disturbing thing because the vast majority of truck drivers do vote for Republicans and do vote for Donald Trump. And I don't know why the fuck that happens, if I'm being honest with you. The truck stops are constantly kicking Fox News down our throats, that's for damn sure. They probably get in their trucks and radicalize themselves even more, driving down the road listening to Fox News and all that bullshit. And that's kind of how it happens. But you know what, my friends? One of the most frustrating things about doing these videos about the trucking industry going to hell over Donald Trump's economic policies is I always get the arrogant assholes that come in here, take a look at my hillbilly face and my profession, and they just start shouting at me, "You did this, you voted for this, I hope you go bankrupt and everything goes to hell on you." And I just wish sometimes on our side a few more people would listen to what's actually going on instead of jumping to conclusions and realize that I'm a fucking ally. As a matter of fact, I'm building a strong case over the course of this channel that I'm a damn good ally to have. So if you are one of those arrogant pricks, maybe sit around for a minute and listen to what the fuck I'm saying before you jump to conclusions. So the trucking industry is showing some signs down here on the ground floor, boots on the ground level, of things going to hell on us, my friends. Now, you do have other indicators, but I'm not necessarily that guy that tracks all the, the freight volumes and the tender rejection rates and all that kind of shit. There are some reliable sources out there that do things like that, but I'm telling you, boots on the ground, what I'm seeing out here. And you guys remember, it was about a month ago, I did a video talking about how a truck stop was packed full of truck drivers on a Monday morning. Now, Monday mornings, those truck stops empty out, truckers got shit to do, and we were all sitting around waiting for fucking something to do. And then I was able to follow that video up, which I don't know if able to is the right term. I'm a truck driver. I don't really necessarily want to go broke because our president's a fucking dipshit, but here we are, my friends. So I then went on to cover a video a week or two ago, about how loads for me were getting canceled, like multiple, 3 in a row, back to back. And I talked about a lot of owner-operators that are worried about going out of business right now. A lot of the lease purchase operators, they're kind of in a tough spot as it is. They are turning in their trucks and going off to find something else to do. And basically the destruction of the fucking trucking industry. And yesterday, I saw some shocking things that I haven't seen before. I always tell you guys I've been a trucker for 10 years. It's more like 12, but who's fucking counting? So I've been doing this for a long fucking time, and I have seen, obviously, trends and patterns and shit like that when it comes to how trucking should work, right? And a thing I just wanted to cover again real quick is it is absolutely shocking that so many truck drivers come out in support of Donald Trump. We're not even asking these guys to read a history book, my friends. We're asking them to remember the history that as it happened in their lifetime. And I was here. I was a truck driver the last time Donald Trump crashed the goddamn industry, when he denied COVID and got 1 million Americans killed, got millions more fired or laid off from their jobs, completely disrupted the supply chain. I mean, COVID happened, but Donald Trump made it way fucking worse than it had to be. You understand? Yes, COVID was a thing. But when you add a dumb son of a bitch as president to the mix that says inject bleach, you know, that might be the fucking case. Then that kind of tends to muddy the waters a little bit. Well, anyways, one of the first things I noticed yesterday that I found to be pretty alarming was I went to a Walmart distribution center. Those things are fucking busy. They are packed constantly, all the time, with trucks in and out, tight parking because all the spots for trailers are full and shit like that. Well, I thought I caught it at a good time because I rolled up to their gate and there was 0 trucks in front of me. I'm like, hell yeah, that's good news. I'll fucking take that. I was really excited. So I got up there and I did my paperwork real quick and they told me where to go put the trailer. And I'm on my merry way, just driving, you know, back to where I'm going to park the trailer. And when I came around the corner, I noticed this Walmart distribution center. Walmart's very busy places, those Walmarts. All their spots where you drop your loaded trailers were fucking empty. There were a sea of empty parking spots for trailers at this Walmart distribution center. Normally you gotta, you know, get in there and get set up for your back and wait for some trucks to go around you and, you know, squeeze your way in between a couple trailers to get into your parking spot. I'm out there fucking turning donuts in the goddamn parking lot, fucking just flipping around because there's all these empty spots. No trucks around me, no nothing. And I said, that is really fucking odd. That is really fucking strange. And then I started thinking about it, all right? And remember, Walmart on a couple occasions now has said that they have to raise prices due to Donald Trump's tariffs. Companies like Walmart, there's a lot that goes with it. They don't necessarily have the huge profit margins where they can eat 35% fucking tariffs, Donald Trump, you dumb bastard. So they have to pass that on, obviously, to their consumer. And also, Walmart is ran by greedy assholes that are there to take our money. So the odds of them eating the tariffs are slim to none, right? The odds are stacked against us, my friends. And I remembered, you know, Walmart has said on a couple occasions they're raising prices due to tariffs. Then it all started to make sense. I'm in this generally very busy Walmart distribution center, and I've been to that very particular one hundreds of times, and it's always so goddamn crowded, and there's nothing there at all, right? And I'm like, man, this is kind of alarming. This is kind of strange now, isn't it? So I drop my trailer off, right, mind my business, and I go back to where they keep all the empty trailers. You go in there and you get your empty trailer, and I got the hell out. That's the end of that story, right? But I really started to think about it. Okay, now, why would a Walmart have this low of a demand for loaded trailers in their lot? A notoriously busy Walmart distribution center, that's the word I'm looking for, right? And I think that we could reasonably come to the conclusion that we are looking at a couple things here. It could be that Walmart was one of the companies to front load their inventory when you know, Donald Trump was threatening the extremely high tariffs. They started buying up a lot of shit, right? And now, because maybe they have all the inventory they need. That's possible, and they don't need to be buying as much shit now because I doubt that's what's going on. All I'm saying is it's a possibility, right? So that could be what's going on, but that is going to trickle down to the truck drivers who work for Walmart a lot. We do a lot of hauling product for Walmart. They're a massive retailer, so we're always doing that. So that front loading of the inventory could be what's fucking us, but I would say that it's more likely that it is a softening of the demand for goods in America. So it's just unusual, is what I'm telling you. It's very, very unusual to see this kind of thing happen at a Walmart. So I think we might be looking at something like that. So I started thinking about it a little bit, and I was driving down the road just to get to a truck stop, right? It was about 6:30 at night, and I was north of Denver. And Denver, like any city in America, is like big city, is a notoriously hard place to park a truck when it starts to get to be that time of night. And I was actually worried as I was driving to that truck stop. I'm like, well, I hope they got a spot for me. Worst case scenario, 6:30 at night, I might be able to get one of their reserve spots. As a trucker, we get the luxury of sometimes paying for a parking spot if all the free ones are taken up. So I'm like, well, maybe that would work out for me. So this truck stop just north of Denver, 6:30 at night, when that thing is normally packed, I rolled in there, my friends, and nothing but empty spaces. Nothing but empty spaces going on there. And I started to realize, because like I said, I recognize the patterns and trends. A full parking lot on a Monday morning is highly fucking unusual. An empty parking lot on a, Thursday night? I think it was a Thursday night. Near a major city, and you still have plenty of parking, there's something fucking going on here. There's something wrong here. Sorry, I look like I almost fell over. I have my little dumbbell on the floor, and as I was moving, I just kind of stepped up on it, and I almost fell over on the camera. I almost did it again because I'm still acting it out. I need to stop. I need to pay attention to what I'm doing here. But the empty parking lot on a Thursday night is extremely unusual. Now, I want to kind of go off on a little bit of something here, because the MAGA dorks, the fucking dipshit truck drivers that vote for Donald Trump are probably right now, if they're watching this far, if the vein hasn't already popped in their head and they got a brain aneurysm listening to me talk about their Lord and Savior Donald Trump, they are probably saying something to the effect of, well, you're seeing all this because Donald Trump got rid of all of the illegal truck drivers, and that's why you're seeing parking. That's why you're seeing all these empty spaces for trailers at the Walmart distribution center. And I have to say, I strongly disagree with that assessment, because if that were true, if there were so many illegal, I know people don't necessarily like that term, but you have to connect with the people you're trying to reach sometimes, right? But so many immigrants that were driving the trucks, that now it's freed up so much work for America's truck drivers, then we would see a couple fucking things in the actual data. And those things that we would see would be the freight rates would start to go up, because if they're right, if there was that many immigrants in America taking American jobs, then that would remove a ton of capacity from the freight market, which it's supply and demand, just very, very straightforward supply and demand. So if that were to happen, then we would see almost immediately the freight rates drive up rapidly for truck drivers. We would be going, holy shit, we're making a lot of fucking money out here. However, we are not seeing that at all. And then another thing we would see is, and I'm not an expert on this, I vaguely understand it, but it's called the tender rejection rate. Tender rejection rate, from my understanding, is contracted freight. So let's say a large company, or a company in general, owns this certain freight, but they don't have the capacity to move it. It gets rejected, so to speak, where it goes out to the spot market for somebody to bid on taking that load. And if so much capacity had been removed from the American roads, through getting rid of immigrant truckers, we would see also the tender rejection rate fly through the fucking roof, is what we would see. If this was actually what was going on, we would see those two things. And from the experts that I follow here on YouTube having to do with the data when it comes to shipping here in America by truck, they're not showing that at all. They're not showing that at all. We are just seeing, I believe, a softening in the freight market, my friends. That's where the fuck we're at. That's what we're seeing. And I have sort of another example that I want to give also, because the fact of the matter is, if you're a truck driver, you're hearing a lot of good news right now, right? I can just whip into a Walmart distribution center, and I can just whip out of there. I can head to the truck stop at 7 o'clock at night, and I can still find parking. That sounds pretty fucking good now, doesn't it? That all sounds like good news. But when trucking gets too convenient, when there's not a motherfucker in your way all of the goddamn time, when you're not struggling to find a place to park your truck when it starts to get later at night, there's actually a fucking problem. And I remember a time in my life where trucking was super convenient. It didn't matter if you were going through any city in this country, LA, Chicago, fucking Dallas, pick a fucking city. You could go through that city any time of day. Any time of day, my friends. You didn't have to plan around it. You could go through there 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. No traffic in front of you. It was smooth sailing. And that time, when trucking was super convenient, that was COVID. That's what it was. And the crash came soon after now, didn't it, my friends? It absolutely did. In case anyone's confused about that or wants to lie to me about what actually fucking happened, the crash came soon after, where a lot of truck drivers went absolutely fucking bankrupt off of Donald Trump mismanaging COVID. Fucking pay attention. That's what happened. So another interesting thing that is leading me to, through my observation, to see that we may have have a softening freight market happening right now with just not enough freight for truckers to move. Look, think of all these examples I gave you. A full truck stop on a Monday morning, that was about roughly a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. 3 loads back to back getting canceled on me. And some people did bring up that, well, maybe the load didn't necessarily cancel, but somebody might have undercut your price and got the load out from under you. Yes, that could have absolutely happened too, because the thing about trucking is it's a fucking race to the bottom. That's how trucking works. You know, whoever can move the freight for the lowest amount is who gets the fucking freight. So I was in when that happened, I was in the Denver market, which is notoriously a rough fucking market to leave, and it is entirely possible that all 3 of those loads were undercut by somebody that was goddamn desperate to just get their fucking truck moving, and that's not a good sign either. Now, is it? That's not a good thing. And also, like I said, I got one more example. Today I went to a place to pick up, to get loaded, to get the fuck out of town, and it's a place I've been to many times, and I hate it because they make you park on the side of this narrow street, 4, 5, 6 trucks lined up down the street. They've got 3 docks inside. Normally all 3 of those docks are full with trucks they're loading, and the trucks lined up down the street, and you just wait in line. You can't even jump back here and take a nap. As the line moves, you have to move your truck up with it, and eventually when you're at the front of the line, you wait to see one of those 3 docks open, then you go in and you get loaded, and then eventually you get out of there. This used to be an all-day fucking place for me every time I went there. And like I said, I've been there a lot of fucking times. Every time I went there, and I dreaded it. I'm like, fuck, because I like naps. I'm old. I'm an elderly trucker, and I like naps, and I couldn't even get a fucking nap when I was there. I hated that goddamn place. I went there today. Not a single truck in front of me, my friends. I pulled up on their scale to check in. They got me checked in. They said, yeah, go on back to the docks. There shouldn't be anyone back there. Go ahead and go for it. I pulled back out on the road, went around to the fucking docks. No one there. No one there. Just one lonely forklift operator that had jack shit to do but wait for my fat ass to get in there so that he could load my fucking trailer, right? I pulled in 15 minutes. 15 minutes, my friends, out the fucking door and back down the road, and no truck had come and gone in the whole 15 minutes that I was there. And the forklift operator didn't have nothing to do. These things, while they may not be concrete proof of something going on, what they are is observations of a person that's been a trucker for well over a decade at this point that is saying this is not fucking normal. All right, it's like the canary in the coal mine, so to speak. We are seeing it unfold in front of us, but we may not necessarily be seeing it like reflect catastrophically in the data at this very fucking moment. And I told these fuckers this whole English efficiency test thing that they're giving truck drivers now and pulling them off the road. It's just something to keep the MAGA base distracted from the actual fucking problem. Well, he's getting all the immigrants off the road. We're all saved, and we're all going to have good jobs and make a lot of money right now. It was Donald Trump trying to buy time while he was collapsing the fucking supply chain. Again, this motherfucker does it every fucking time, but while he was doing it again, it was something he he could throw a bone to his base and say he's trying his best. Well, now we're seeing that the English proficiency thing is already in place, and we as truck drivers are starting to lose work. So I fucking tried to tell you guys this shit was coming. I tried to fucking tell you that this was going to happen. And that's the way we're going right now. So anyways, those are my observations. I won't keep you any longer. I actually do have work to do, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, that's it. Love you guys. Bye now.